It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
And Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
I hear because of action affirmative. She can't even say that. We know. It's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own. I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. You know, this is how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are. They're so narcissistic, they think this is persuasive. They think we're like, oh, of course, that's why we need affirmative action, because you have impressed us with your brilliance. Of course. Oh no, imagine the world without Joy Reid. Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson. They think this is persuasive. They think as they kind of now reveal that I'm only here because of anti-white, anti-Asian forced discrimination policies. That turned me into a bitter, resentful activist that hates white people, honestly, through.
All right, so again, hey, shout out to Sadie Bird. Sadie Bird likes my It's an Everyday Thing. He liked the intro. Shout out to him. He's a good young man whose mother watches the show, so shout out to them. So everything that he says is not like accurate, but it's great talking points for if you want to rile up a base of people and have them on your side, because it's a lot of people that feel that way. They just don't have the voice or they don't have the platform. But Charlie Kirk does. And so what does he do? He takes shots at women. Okay, if she's a recipient of affirmative action, the reason why she says that is because maybe the school that she was going to was predominantly white, and they saying, well, hell, we need to diversify. So what does she feel like when she goes to this predominantly white school? That I was an affirmative action pick. That's not a title that somebody wants to hold. Like, yes, we got in from affirmative action. Like, I can't believe it. Let me give my thanking speech to, I want to appreciate all the voters. That is not what that means. And to say that it's anti-white, that bill is an anti-white and anti-Asian, why did the Asians benefit more? Why did white women benefit more? Why did the LGBTQ community benefit more than black people? I'm trying to figure that out. See, this is the stuff that people just be listening to, That's like, really, I don't know all the politics, but I ain't stupid, and I know a little bit. But I'm not gonna get on a politician stage and try to out-debate a politician about policies. And what he's doing what I do. He's no better than what I am. I'm just talking about stuff I know about. I might not have all the facts, but I'm just talking. And his following grew to millions of believers. People who believed the stuff that he was saying was right and it was wrong. At least if I'm wrong, I will fact check myself and say, no, I was wrong on that. He won't. he'll just spin it to a whole nother subject or conversation. And what he'll do, if we're going to watch it, we're going to watch how he overtalks people to continue to change the narrative so people can't just simply defend the original topic. And it's one lady who really does well with debating Charlie Kirk because he keeps trying to throw the bait and switch. And this is because everybody, this the reason why we're playing this is because people don't believe that he disliked black women. And when I said Candace Owens is the same person that he doesn't like. Like Candace Owens is, according to Charlie Kirk, a DEI recipient, an affirmative action recipient. According to Charlie Kirk, now he didn't say Candace Owens specifically, but he's talking about black women. That's what he's talking about. So, and if you follow him, you're a goofball, Buddy Langford.
You really have to wonder. In fact, you know, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying,
This really might be one of the worst quotes I've ever heard from Charlie Kirk in my entire life. There is truly no defending this. It's more proof that he built his career off of being a racist, and no amount of context could possibly change what he's saying in this clip. Just listen.
Here's what's upsetting to me, Heather, is if I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? It almost creates thought patterns that are not necessarily wholesome.
The Charlie Kirk defenders are going to say, well, he's talking about DEI and how DEI is a bad thing because it makes us think that these black people aren't qualified to work these jobs. But what he's actually doing is undermining minorities as well as women and saying they're not deserving of the jobs they have. His logic was on full display in that clip. He thought the only way black people could possibly get jobs is because of DEI. But what's crazy is I guarantee that if Charlie Kirk dealt with a bad service worker who was white, he would not be crying about DEI at all. He would just brush it off as, hey, there's just some bad people who work in the service industry. It's no big deal. Here's the reality. Black women are among the most educated groups in the United States. They have higher college enrollment rates than many of their peers, and that's a fact. They've earned their place in boardrooms, classrooms, hospitals, and every sector in the entire country. Suggesting otherwise is not political commentary. It's just blatant racism, plain and simple.
Now, hey, y'all, the fact that y'all sit here and say, well, it's out of context. You know, Charlie Kirk, what he really meant to say was, you know, not that she's a moron, but it's a black woman who's stupid. As if that changed anything. They're like, well, she only got the job because, well, her disability gave her the job and her blackness. Because she's uneducated and she's working at Target. So she took a job from a white person that could be working at Target. A white man who's more qualified to hang up shirts on the shelves and line up the shelves full of cosmetics. They have this moronic black woman doing it. And she won't help nobody. She just do her own thing. A white man could have had that job. That's what y'all be wanting to say.
like a capitalist every single day, Shank. I live as a capitalist, okay? I live what I believe. No.
Yeah, but he ain't racist. Is he not racist? Let's hear this again.
This really
like a capitalist every single day, Shank. I live as a capitalist, okay? I live what I believe. No. What do? I get charity every single year. Crime, like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Because of DEI, it begs the question when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. If I'm dealing with
Let's just talk about the black pilot for a second. I know people have talked about this up and down and around and around and around and around. But all pilots go through the same training. In fact, I think we're going to talk about this because I've seen so many clips of this. Now I know the information. That's why it's going to make it so much easier to show y'all and tell y'all what's going on. It wasn't for black pilots to be hired. It was for black pilots to go to school, because I had to research this and understand why he kept saying, they were going to hire 50% more black pilots. And at the end of the day, it wasn't to hire 50% more. It was to accept 50% more qualified students that were a minority into flight school. Flight school doesn't make you a pilot. It just means you're accepted, and they want to increase 50% more. That means if there were 50 people in the school, next year they want to increase it to 75 people, black or minorities, into flight training school. But he kept saying this as if black pilots are taking jobs, taking white pilots' jobs for DEI. No, it's to get more qualified people into the school so there can be more people into the field. And then there'll be a more diverse, because there will be more qualified individuals that go get these jobs. But it's into training, not just getting jobs. But y'all won't listen to that. Y'all won't hear that.
somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? It almost creates thought patterns that are not necessarily. No one really cares when it's HR managers. No one cared when it was, just kind of paper shufflers or even engineers. But now when it's like, wait, hold on a second. You're going to remove my appendix and you're a black lesbian. Totally like a capitalist every.
So because you're a black lesbian that's a doctor, now all of a sudden, it was okay, he said, an engineer or a paper shuffler or an HR manager. It's okay if that low level job, you can keep that. But when you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, no way. You want to be a judge? No way. We don't. No. Where's the white people at? That's where I want a white doctor. In fact, most doctors nowadays are Asian, and like Chinese Asian, and from India Asian.
Men who voted for Trump versus women who voted for Harris. Men who voted for Trump, they asked what was the important to personal definition of success. 34% of men who voted for Trump believe having children is more important than anything else, even more important than financial independence and a fulfilling job and career. For women who voted for Harris, 51%, the most important thing for them, having a fulfilling job and career. The last thing, the least important thing for women who voted for Harris is having children. This is like a bombshell, shocking thing. We knew that some of this existed, but we did not know it was this dramatic. The last thing, the least important thing for them is having children. Having children is right there at 6%. Being married is.